going to go to Sarah Mahoney, and she is MediaPost's editor of marketing D2C, and she's going to be moderating our next panel, which is Beyond Bricks and Clicks, the seamless experience. And there's Sarah. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hey, great. How are you guys doing? Nice to be here.
Yeah, just waiting for any storms to come, but it seems like the ice storm has not has been kind of passing us. Where are you?
I'm up in Maine and we got a very disappointingly small amount of snow.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess if you're up there to ski, then yes, I could see.
Well,
When I think of it as shoveling, then I'm kind of glad.
speaking of snow and skiing, we've got Dan joining us from California and a recent ski trip, I hear. And
Oh, good job
Shannon,
for
are
you.
you? Yeah, Shannon's with us from the great Arctic state of Minnesota. And we'll get started talking about seamless experiences and omnichannel. Thank you guys both so much for doing this. And I'm intrigued to hear you talk about two very different categories that changed a lot in the last year. But with that, maybe Shannon, let's start with you and you tell us what the last 12 months have been like for party planners and your core shopper, and then we'll move on to Dan.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, excited to be here. I think it's a balmy -4 degrees today, so a bit of a heat wave for anyone else who is trapped in this. We're looking forward to spring. It's interesting that the last 12 months, to look back at it, because it seems like the shortest yet longest year ever, and I think most people can attest to that. When I think about our customer and what changed for her this year, really it was the way that she shopped certainly changed for all of us, but also particularly for our brand, the way that she celebrates fundamentally changed as well. We're in the celebration business, right? So products and services, and we saw a fundamental shift that started with the uncertainty of no one was celebrating to, whoa, we're going to be in this, state of affairs for a while. So we need to find new ways to celebrate. And then as we settled into the norm, it became, okay, she's waiting to see how she'll celebrate. And some of the new ways I think are here to stay, right? So we started to see a shift, over the last 12 months of photo worthy just accelerating, right? So she can't have everyone with her in the moment that she wants to celebrate. And so the desire to make any celebration much more photo worthy, to be able to share socially with her friends and family who can't be with her is really important. So we see her investing in new products and experiences that will really bring the total experience to life, both visually and then through virtual, right? Lots of Zooms, lots of webinars. We saw a move to outdoor celebrations. Obviously, when it wasn't 30 below in parts of the world over the summer months, we saw lots of celebrations, increases in celebrations once again, and people were moving outdoors. And so we see a shift, and our insights tell us that that's also here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future. She'll plan gatherings, but she'll plan for outdoors. And then we see her expressing the moments of celebration with different outdoor products as well. So we've seen a fundamental shift in the decor space, right? So decorating and using balloons, using yard signs, using everything I can to express to the world externally as I'm locked down indoors, that I'm celebrating. And so we see a fundamental shift in the way she celebrates the products, certainly the way she shops. And I'm certain there's been lots of great conversation around Omni, around curbside services, around how fast can I get it to home, same day delivery services. We started to deliver balloons, and that's here to stay as well. So she's fundamentally shopping different. And then the last thing I'll add is it's been really interesting to see how she plans as well in terms of timing. We've started to see some fundamental shifts in the consumer demand. And some of it comes early and some of it comes late. So for certain holidays and tentful occasions, we've seen her wait longer than normal to start to think about what she's going to do and to start to shop. Halloween being one of them. But for other occasions, such as birthdays, such as Christmas, we saw her start to plan much earlier than she did, start to shop much earlier. And I think a lot of that comes down to the wanting to express herself through decor and other reasons to just find everyday moments to celebrate and extending some of those seasons. So those are the really big changes we've seen in the last 12 months.
Great, thank you. Dan, how about you? Completely different way the year unfolded, I say, as I look at my own drab curtains here. Tell us what it was like for you guys.
Well, we are a shop at home company. We used to have 200 retail locations, and those went away over the years. The last one really closing in 2015. We still, through acquisition, we have a couple of locations still, one in Chicago and Lincoln Park. But that has also changed dramatically. So when COVID hit, we were shut down completely. We couldn't do any business whatsoever. We are not e-commerce. So our competitors that were in the e-commerce space, their sales kind of exploded during lockdown. And we were scrambling to figure out whether we were going to have a business at all. When things start to open up, we had this really elaborate strategy, because the way things opened up were really county by county. And so, and we're in 30 states. And so we had to kind of, we had this elaborate, like, kind of reopening strategy. We're going to start small with some media, maybe some, AdWords, and then some Facebook, and then we'll kind of, and then next thing you know, everything exploded, and the whole country wanted window treatments and home improvement overnight. And we weren't ready for that by any means. We really didn't expect it. The home improvement boom, which definitely benefited us and still is, really had us scrambling to figure out how to service the customer best. One of the things we launched in April was virtual consultation, because our business really is an in-home personal, they're custom-made window treatments. And we manufacture the window treatments, and our design consultants are employees. They're not contractors. We don't have franchises. So we really are, factory direct to consumer marketers, and we control the entire experience. So we, going virtual was very different for us, and we really struggled to, make that something that was a positive customer experience for the ones that wanted it. And surprisingly, people really wanted the in-home, in-person experience much more than the virtual. So we do virtual still, and it's a growing piece of our business, and it's new, and we're getting better at it. But to much of our surprise, people really wanted someone in their house. And from a safety perspective, we've had a really good track record, and everything is going great. Now it's, how do we go to the next level with this, demand for home improvement, and really make the customer experience better. And that's what we're going to do this year, is really, try to spend more time understanding what the customer wants and deliver that.
Great. Thanks so much. And I guess what I thought we could just sort of start with is, so we've seen so much digital behavior change in the last year. If you could just sort of explain what omnichannel really means for your company, and how you think you found a way to be better positioned than say Amazon or your local home decorator. What would have been the big successes for you in terms of what you guys do?
Well, can I take that?
Yes, please.
Shannon, I'll take it. So, we're a do-it-for-me company. So, we've talked about possibly selling on Amazon or having e-commerce, but that really isn't our value proposition. So, I think competing with Amazon would really say competing with the DIY, e-commerce, big box. And there are always going to be competitors, and the DIY experience is one that we all love. We've all done things. If you're a homeowner and you own a screwdriver or a hammer, and you've tried something yourself, I feel like we come in after you've done something yourself and you realize that it's either difficult, time consuming, you don't get the result you want. So we really plan in a different, and that's our value proposition really is that we're not Amazon. We are more of a white glove experience. We come into your home and we show you the fabrics, and you're going to see what they look like next to your sofa and in the window and the opacity, and is it really going to darken your room during the middle of the day and all that kind of stuff. You can't get that if you're shopping online. So to a large extent, we're not trying to compete with Amazon or the big boxes. If you're a DIY customer and you're content with that, then that's great, and you should do that. But if you really want that experience of getting the right product, and you're willing to pay a little more for a white glove experience, then that's where we come in.
Okay, Shannon, how about you guys? How are you making omnichannel your own?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and we certainly are in a much different space. So we have a lot of channels by which we can deliver product and services to customers. And this time last year, March, April, we had a roadmap that was greatly accelerated with the environment. And so we think about Omni as how do we get products to the customer in the way and the channel that they want, right? And that has certainly transformed this year. So today we offer your traditional buy online and it can come to my home, but we've expanded that to think about how can we fulfill and get even faster into home through shipping models. And certainly there've been an enormous amount of constraints this year with delivery, UPS, FedEx of the world, just the enormous demand for shipping. And we've had to navigate some of those challenges. What we found is we can actually get product to our customers faster if we offer them buy online, pick up at curbside, or buy online and I deliver it out of home using last mile delivery networks. And so we have found tremendous success in our ability to move product quickly that way. From a seamless experience perspective, there's been challenges, right? And we had to stand some of these channels up quickly and had to learn. And I think that customers were patient for a while because they were still able to get merchandise, and that was a plus. But I think the patience has waned. And so it's really on us as retailers, and we work on this every day as a business to say, how do I make this a frictionless experience? How do we continue to optimize all of these channels? For us, Amazon plays a role in that. We sell in Amazon as well. So Amazon serves a much different customer for us. It is really a transactional customer, a customer who wants to buy a product and wants to get it quickly and is really in a product seeking customer segment versus one who's after a holistic mission, right? I need help and I need expertise and I want to look for depth and breadth of assortment, and I have a vision, a Pinterest board for a party, and I really need some extra support. They're not going to find that service on Amazon. And so while we sell into Amazon, it's much more of a different customer segment than those that we're pulling into our traditional e-commerce channel or our omni channels of delivery. And then we're testing new channels in social, right? There's lots of new opportunities for social commerce across multiple platforms, including Instagram. And so for us, it's about how do I provide transaction capability to both our products and services in the channel that the customer is in without having to move them across different channels, if you will.
That's interesting. Dan, are you guys using social at all?
For sure. Social media for us really is, advertising. We look at social media as we bucket it in display. Some people call it, paid social. We just look at it like display advertising in terms of the customer acquisition. Our influencer marketing strategy, I would say, is in its infancy, and we've been doing it for years. But I have yet to meet someone who's really nailed it. But that is a really big movement for us now, and we're engaging more and more influencers online. So one of our biggest pushes this year is really to engage as many influencers as possible kind of a new way we're doing it. So that's in terms of social content and that type of awareness and marketing. And we really do look at it as awareness, even though we are a direct response type marketing organization. We look at influencer and social media as top of the funnel, and we bucket it in the same thing as we do like TV. So, but we are very heavily involved in social media on the influencer side. And, we also, believe it or not, we have a lot of people follow us because window treatments are sexy, right?
I do believe it. And Shannon hinted at this a little bit at Party City, but I'd like to ask you too. So you've described this situation where people find you digitally and then experience you in person, and things have changed. What do you think as we move out of the pandemic are going to be the lasting changes about the way your core customer is thinking about blinds, curtains, window treatments? What's going to stick?
I'm sorry, I lost you a little bit in the first part.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are the changes that are going to stay with your core customer about the way they're viewing home decor?
Well, I think that what we're going to move towards, and what I think is interesting is the personalization and getting to know the customer more before we actually show up at their house, and using digital means to really understand what their needs are, what their likes are, and what they want. And when we show up, we can have a more intimate relationship with them, a more personal relationship with them. And we're in their home. I mean, retail, a brick and mortar experience is really great because you're face to face with the customer. In this case, we're actually in their home. I mean, it doesn't really get more personal than that. And I'd say that, being able to leverage that and really make the experience for the customer much better, not only in the first visit, but subsequent visits, installation, and any marketing we do down the road. I mean, we really want to leverage that face-to-face experience with the customer to make it more personal.
Okay. What about you guys, Shannon? What do you think are the changes that are here to stay, and how are you going to build on them?
I think that for us, one of the fundamental shifts that's here to stay is just the role of celebration. If you think about, just the world that we're in, and there's a degree of pent up demand for us all to be able to get together once again, right? When we're in a much different place, hopefully relatively soon, we expect our customers to just want to celebrate and to want to continue to make these, more smaller moments more meaningful, right? And that's something that we've seen over the course of the last 12 months is every moment that can be a moment to celebrate, to recognize, to spend with friends or loved ones, whether it's in person or virtually now, finding these ways to outwardly express through decor, through outside moments, through extended seasons. I just think the spirit of celebration has a whole new meaning because we've been living in a world where something that we took for granted, right, for so long that it would be easy for me to be able to get together and to celebrate is here to stay, certainly.
I feel like I should ask you about the role of balloons, because I think people are going to be very interested about what you have to say about balloons.
So balloons, balloons for us has been, we've had a phenomenal last 12 months with balloons because it is a really unique way to express celebrations, right? We've seen, and we have many new launches coming and a lot of product innovation. We see a tremendous amount of DIY. Dan talked about influencers in the social space. We've discovered just a ton of people doing really cool things with balloons, from mosaics to arches to garlands for every reason. And we have really leaned in and really listened and really started to think about how special balloons can be to celebrations. The fact that we now deliver inflated balloons means you don't need you know, you don't have the constraints of your car. You can fit 24 balloons in a standard vehicle, but we can deliver hundreds to you, right? So, and we're starting to see just explosive growth in the delivered balloon space. You don't need to deal with the hassle, and there's some really cool things that can be done to celebrate with balloons.
Okay, that's great. So listen, we're bumping up at the end of the half hour, and I know some of us have a hard stop. Is there anything you'd like to say while we're waiting for questions to materialize?
Sarah, let me give you, I have some questions for you, Sarah. Sarah.
Oh, okay. Well then, take it away, Lisa.
Well, specifically, Shannon, about when you talked about social and you really taking advantage of some of the different channels for e-commerce, but in terms of bandwidth, I mean, there's so many different channels, so many different personality. How are you handling all of that?
That's a great question. So bandwidth, I'll assume that you mean in terms of internally as well as externally, and where to lean in. So yeah, we've had to run the business smart this year, right? As most of us have, and so we had to make decisions about what were the most purposeful places that we wanted to lean in and put our efforts around fewer, more impactful places. So if I just think about the social channels, we coming into 2021 had actually pared back in certain channels and said, what are the channels that afford us the greatest opportunity, where we can have the greatest impact, and we're doubling down our resources and just our thinking and thought time to those. And then we're stepping back from other channels to a much more just minor level, smaller level of participation. And really it's the same across the board, right? So we're just having to make smart choices about fewer, more impactful channels and initiatives and leaning into those. We've also done a lot of testing and learning to get here, right? So we tried a lot of different things to figure out what would have the greatest impact. Some worked, some didn't, and then some kind of informed the direction of where we're going.
Great. And Dan, for you, as far as I know, that you talked about possibly bringing in some influencers or finding those that might be a good fit. But what about UGC? Have you considered doing anything like with your current customers?
We have, and we do. That, you know, the challenge we have is the initial design consultation is very different than the installation. So a lot of times the installation is where we want to get the best shots, and you know, with no disrespect to our installers, but our design consultants are probably better at, you know, imagining and producing beautiful shots of the product than our installers. And it's, you know, we're asking a lot of them already. So we do actually have some wonderful customers that will deliver just amazing photography for us. And we do leverage that for sure.
And I know that you talked about, you know, you guys are, you're going to be there for them. It's not something, if people want to do it themselves, then that's not you. But at the same point, you guys did rally when COVID hit. You were able to do virtual initial interviews with people and talk with them. Is there any part of that you want to then take further? I know I talk with a lot of different people who are saying, okay, we have to be prepared for maybe something, hopefully not COVID, but something else that could happen. Has it put you in that frame of mind?
It has, and we're thinking about how we can better execute on, you know, our value proposition virtually, and it's a challenge for sure, but we are working on it and we're getting better at it. Installation is tricky. If we can't be there to install, then the customer has to do it, and we've done, you know, virtual consultations during the install to help the customer do it virtually. But that's a completely different challenge altogether. So we're working on it. We're getting better at it. You know, I think it'll be a bigger part of our business, but it's definitely, there's some things to learn.
And Shannon, just one more question for you. As far as you talked a little bit about Amazon, but that's a separate customer. But is there any way you're able to leverage those customers or get them to bring them into whether it be into your store or on your website?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So we offer a curated assortment, if you will, on Amazon, one that we know resonates best with that more transactional customer, but 100% we leverage that as an opportunity to bring them into the entire experience. So maybe right now, the average person plans, 7, 9 celebrations a year, and they're in a transactional mode now, but how can we introduce them to other things that we have to offer in the total suite of products and services, through both communication as well as just getting the right assortment to the customer for their needs.
Great.
You mind if I jump in, Shannon? Because I know that I spoke to your CMO a few months ago, and one of the projects that you guys are in is really rethinking your whole retail experience. You're starting to revamp your stores in significant ways, to rethink what you want to get out of that retail experience, because very often people are coming into Party City and sort of shopping these vast aisles of a lot of different things. Tell us a little bit about that, because I think that's an important piece.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have next gen store formats that are in a variety of markets that we've been testing. They are fundamentally different than your traditional experience. They're completely balloon centric first and foremost. So entirely built around
they're balloon centric.
Balloon centric, yes. Built around the balloon experience.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. You asked about balloons earlier. Yes, balloons are our thing, right? So it's just a fundamentally different experience, and we actually reduce the assortment in these stores as well, because it's great to have depth and breadth, but it can be overwhelming too, right? And so we really took a look at how do we get the right assortment in the stores, and then how do we intersect experiences that allows her to create. And we're continuing on this journey, right? One of the things that we've seen, and it's even accelerated in the last year, is the customer desire to DIY, right? So all of our customer journey work and insights that we've been really diving into tells us that she has a vision, she has an idea, she's put together thinking, but then she wants to make it her own, right? She wants to put pieces together, see how it comes together. And so how do we allow her to do that in a physical space? Well, it comes down to introducing experiences where she can imagine introducing through digital signage or back to digital linking videos, Dan talked about, the how to do it once I get home. So we're doing a lot of linkage there, and then also introducing services. So if she is coming into one of our new stores, she'll have the opportunity to meet with and have a consultation with a party planner that can be very basic, that says, I'm planning, call it a Paw Patrol, and I really need help. I don't know where to start, to all the way to I've seen these, beautiful garlands and I want an over the top party. And we can help with everything end to end and figure out how to build, how to consult, and how to bring really the products and experiences. So it's very much a different experience. I'll share with you, I was in one of our stores and you watch a small child come in, and just the delight in their face when they are exposed to the balloons, and the look of the new store really says it all in terms of the experience we've created in that footprint.
So part of that is your a deeper understanding of what people can do online as opposed to what they really want to do in retail. So you're really sort of parsing the experience, and that's freeing you up to dedicate retail space to services, consultative operations, and know that there are certain things you actually want people to do online because it allows you to do different things at retail.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really cool.
We actually have time for one more question from Marissa.
Cool.
I know, Steve, you're anxious, but
No, please.
she actually wanted me to ask for her, but she basically says consumer behaviors have changed because of COVID. So how has that impacted your media strategy? And do you think about different marketing tactics or mediums to reach your customers? So why don't we start with you, Dan, for that one?
So we're in an interesting place in that the demand for home improvement is higher than I've ever seen it. And so our marketing has changed, it's changed in weird ways, really, because we're really looking for efficiencies at this point because the demand is there. So we're not trying to create the demand, we're trying to create efficiencies. So we're looking at every channel and finding the most efficient parts of those channels, from AdWords to Facebook and everything in between, print and radio and TV, and we're really trying to make it efficient because the demand is there. It's very an interesting time.
And Shannon?
Yeah, we've certainly evolved our media strategy, if you will, to really take a look at demand. I kind of referenced changing even in consumer demand in terms of when they're in the market for different seasons and occasion has shifted. So for us, it's very much about trying to forecast the demand and then being very nimble. We actually look on a sometimes day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis to understand what's happening and then adjusting our media plans accordingly so that we can maximize the consumer demand, even product by product. Sometimes we might think that she's leaning into one particular category for an occasion, but we see trends differently. So we've taken a much more, I would say, proactive approach in terms of trying to understand and listen on a regular basis and then adjust and be very flexible with our media strategy.
Great. Well, you guys were great. That was a really good panel. Thank you so much for joining us. Shannon, really appreciate it. Dan, always a pleasure. And Sarah, you're a great moderator. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having